The year is 1994. The top 3 hit songs are The Sign by Ace of Base, I Swear by All for One, and I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men. You've seen the music videos for these, of course, on MTV. But you've seen a little more than just steamy R&B videos. See, because you've tuned into MTV's The Grind. It's a show where young people dance in a fake industrial club to the hottest music of the Clinton administration.
If Monica Lewinsky says that you used a cigar.
Sometimes The Grind is hosted by Nies. You may remember him from such shows as the first season of The Real World. He certainly is a product of his time.
This is what we call the creep here on The Grind.
But he is a recognizable MTV name, in addition to being a certifiable honk.
To work the abs.
And he's in great shape. So what better product to slap his face on than a fitness tape? See, they took some of the dancers from The Grind show and put together this whole hip-hop aerobics dance video at about 130 beats per minute. That's the music, not your heart rate. They made, as far as I could find, 2 other The Grind workout videos. And today we're going to be reviewing the hip-hop aerobics one. That's right, I'm Mike with VHS Fitness Reviews, and I did MTV's The Grind hip-hop aerobics 3 times a week for a month, and I'm here to review it for your viewing pleasure. I hope you like a Tootsie Roll because I'm about to break down this whole program, like the difficulty level, and if it's even fun or not, and of course how many calories I burned.
Pump it out. Pump it out.
Go Ian, go Ian.
And 5 and 6. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Ready to do it again?
You want to do it again?
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Nice, Fred.
MTV's The Grind Hip Hop Aerobics is an aerobics tape that teaches you some dance moves to hip hop from the mid-90s. It's all low impact like these tapes commonly are, and it does culminate in a full dance sequence, so the first move feeds into the second and so on. And by the end of 41 minutes, you'll be able to actually string something together kind of coherently. Sure, some of the moves are dated, but it's the 2020s, and half of all pop culture is just bringing back stuff from the past, so I would say anything over 15 years old is fair game.
You'll pick up a few moves, so the next time you're in the clubs, you'll know what you're doing.
And there is an abs section at the end of this. Sort of.
To work the abs.
The way the abs section works is that there's a few moves that are demonstrated by Nies, and then they just tell you how many of them to do. It's totally asynchronous. It's okay, it's nowhere near as good as a dedicated abs tape because no one's actually talking you through it. This review won't be really covering that abs section. I already do a dedicated ab tape before every workout, and it just felt redundant, and it wasn't really that fun looking, and I just didn't think it would make for a good time or a good review. The tape is pretty simple if you look at it purely mechanically. Each move can be done without much difficulty at all. However, once you start stringing those moves together in tempo, you will sweat. A lot. There are 2 things that are really going to trip you up here. First, it's going to be your endurance. Out of all the aerobics tapes that I've done so far, this one has gotten my heart rate up the highest. And we'll talk about those exact numbers later when I do the heart rate and calorie section. From the moment that Nies says,
Music, please.
until the very end, the music doesn't stop, and neither do you. Even when you're learning and they're just demonstrating stuff, you have to be marching or grooving or doing whatever it is you need to do to keep moving.
Now at home, do you march? You can jam?
Keep
Whatever you feel.
So by the end, when you're doing the full dance routine front to back, it's long enough to actually be pretty challenging and keep your heart rate elevated the whole time. The second thing that this tape is going to test is your ability to dance. I'm not a dancer, I don't have a background in dance at all, and I found some of these moves really challenging at the start. Some of these moves are a little bit more compound than others, and they benefit from like just the most basic understanding of dance moves, which I don't have. For the first few sessions, I could not understand how to do a box step. It's a very rudimentary move, but like it just didn't compute in my brain. I could not comprehend what they were doing.
Over. Right, so it's just 4 steps.
Very simple.
1, 2, 3,
Very
4.
good.
Although it doesn't help that that was the worst explained one, probably because it's so simple to a lot of dancers, but to me, I'm like, I don't understand this at all. So it took me a few sessions before I actually got it. And yeah, it was difficult because every time that I would screw up that box step, it would screw my flow up, and then it was hard to recover and kind of get back into it. Similarly, even up until my very last session, I have not been able to master the final move of the dance routine. It's a very awkward one. It's this whole like slide and punch into a pepper seed, and it's just too much for me, especially at the end of the whole routine where I'm pretty low on gas anyway. All that said, after a few sessions, I was able to get everything down except that very last part and feel pretty comfortable doing it. And even though I didn't master that last move, I was still able to like kind of sort of do it in a janky way, but whatever, my heart rate was up, so who cares? So all that just to say that it's not insurmountable if you're not a good dancer. It took me a few sessions to do it right, but I was able to do it.
I see it goes to show you, you don't gotta be the most amazing dancer in the world to do this, because I can do it, so there you go. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it.
For injury risks, it's the same as what I'd imagine any high energy dance to be. Of course, there's always a fall risk, so you need a pretty clear area to work out in. But other than that, you know, there's some crouching, there's kicking, there's some extending. You know, if you go a little too hard, I could see you maybe throwing something out. I actually came close to throwing my shoulders out when I did the pepper seed for the first time because I just didn't, I went too hard. I went too hard. The tape is about 41 minutes long, and I burned an average of 350 calories per session. The highest I ever burned was 398 calories, and the lowest I ever burned was 313 calories. And I'm pretty sure an average of 350 is the most I've ever lost on aerobics tape so far in this project. You know, another thing you might want to consider is liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Ha! I got you, motherfucker! For my heart rate, it averaged about 120 BPM, which again is higher than any other aerobics tape I've done.
I don't know, Linda.
Good.
We're almost ready to work out because this music's getting me pumped.
I know. Hang in there, we're almost there. And bring it in a little.
If you look at the graph, you'll see that my heart rate hit about 170 BPM towards the end when you're doing the full routine, like back to back to back, it spikes pretty hard. And that's pretty high for me. No other tape has had me hit 170 consistently. But if you do this tape as intended, following along and never stopping and doing the dance front to back each time, you're gonna get a really good sweat on. This is an aerobics tape, so the muscle you work the most is your heart. But for real, it's just a little bit of foot movement, some arm movement, but really the feet drive everything. There is some work for your back and thighs though, because some of the moves have you crouching or hunching, or there's actually one move called the grind. Yes, there's a move called the grind on the grind.
The grind.
That move speaks for itself.
And you just straight up are doing a squat, so. But don't worry, none of this is enough to get you sore. Your muscles aren't under a load long enough for that to really happen. Eric Nies is the kind of dingus who could only arise in the 90s. There are plenty of other kinds of dingus throughout history, but he's a very specific one. Apparently he's like a shaman or something now. Look, I bet he's a nice guy, but in this tape, he comes off as the guy that nailed your high school crush under the bleachers, and you're like, him? Him? Why him? He has no meaningful input on this tape at all, but has clearly been instructed to just say things.
Nice. Bend
should
those
really
knees
feel
slightly.
When he speaks, it's always some sort of broad stroke idea.
Drinking water is very important.
Still though, he says one thing that's pretty on point, if kind of obvious.
You could do this workout 5 times a day, and it's not going to do a thing if you don't watch your diet. You gotta watch your diet. Please watch your diet, because if you're going around saying I'm doing the grind workout and you're not watching your diet,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Of course, watch your diet can be taken a lot of different ways, and you could even see that the other host doesn't really know how to respond to it.
You want to eat balanced meals?
Well, you know, I'm not saying you should do it 5 times a day, but
Speaking of Miss Linda Nader, she is the actual instructor here.
I hope
hope everybody's ready to work out. If you've ever seen these grind dancers move, you know you're in for a treat.
She's your guide here. She just explains things and leads the dance, but she doesn't have a whole lot of mechanical advice to give. She's just here to drive for you. But I never felt like I needed much detailed description. I mean, you do the moves so many times that even if you're like me and have a little trouble in the beginning, you'll get it eventually. There's a real youthful air here. They're all young people, and even though Linda is the instructor, it still kind of feels like she's playing around with them.
Put your own step with Danielle. Woo! 5, 6.
She's fun, and I like her as the instructor. Also, I think she released some music of her own at the time. I found some song on YouTube that says her name on it, so if that's actually hers, that's pretty cool. Now the crew here is awesome. These are people that would have been on the Grind TV show on MTV. But these people aren't credited anywhere, not even IMDb, but I think I've gotten most of their names through Linda's callouts. There's Danielle, Danielle again, Ian, Anthony, Sam, Nico, Kenny, and I swear they call this girl Zombie.
Maybe Zavi and, let's see.
I love Kenny, and the best way of describing him, and I swear I don't mean this in a disparaging way, is like, if this was a movie about people who turn into dogs, I feel like I could really easily picture what dog he would turn into.
Now, if you don't have a rug, then you can slide, but you can't slide on a rug. You know what I'm saying?
Does that make any sense? Everyone else is cool, and they're all having fun for the most part. And everyone has their own expression of the moves, which is fun, because you do these things so many times that you can test all these different sort of ways of doing it and see which ones fit you best.
When you're first starting, you may want to do the pump that slow, right? Or you may have your own pump. Eric's got a cool pump. You may want to check it out.
Okay, you guys know how it works. I always choose somebody in the crew that's a little extra special, and we crown them queen of the crew. And look, I want it to be Kenny, but my heart is telling me that it's somebody else. This is somebody who brings 200% pump and grind from front to back the whole time. And that is Danielle. No, not that Danielle, the other yes, that one.
Tell them what you're doing, girls.
And I like plenty of the other crew, but it looks like Danielle would actually just be doing this in their mirror at home if she wasn't here. She was just like so into it, and it just struck me really early on, and I just couldn't put that down.
Good. And 4, 3, good.
Because of that bump and grind, and definitely not because I think she's pretty cute, Danielle 2 wins queen of the crew.
Down, side, yeah, pump.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from the editing room, and I'm here editing the host and crew section of the video. And I know I've been taking a lot of shots at Eric Nies for being kind of a dingus, but I want to walk it back slightly and just say, look, he was 23 years old when this came out. Also, I had read an interview, which I can't find right now, but I'm sure if I put more than 5 seconds of effort in, I would, where he says that he got really taken advantage of by the industry early on. Like, he basically came away from it with very little because he just got robbed. That's something to keep in mind too. He was a young guy, he didn't really know what he was doing. So yeah, he seems like the guy who nailed your high school girlfriend under the bleachers, but at the same time, you can have some sympathy for him and sort of like laugh a little bit and understand that as a person, I'm sure he's grown just like we all have, and that he's probably not that exact same kind of dingus anymore. So what do you need? You're gonna need shoes for this one. I tried it barefoot because you know me, I like to do my workouts barefoot, but no, you actually need shoes. I had to run and grab my shoes like halfway through it because I was rubbing my feet raw.
So I hope everybody's wearing comfortable aerobic shoes.
The other thing you need is space.
Space!
It requires a little bit more space than some other tapes I've done. My 6x8 gym mat was actually not big enough. You need a lot of room forward and back, and I'm not kidding, when I was doing it totally comfortably without worrying about how much space I was taking up or anything, it was 15 feet front to back that I felt was the most comfortable amount of space.
And you've cleared away all your furniture.
Look, you can do this with less space. You just have to be very conscious of how much space you're taking up, and there's some moves, like there's this one where you take 3 really big steps backwards. And that's responsible for most of that movement. And then you do this thing where you creep forwards, and that's that too. But if you just take smaller steps, I'm sure you can do it. Also, there's one move that requires some lateral sliding, and that made me go off my mat a little bit too.
Slide. And pepper, pepper, slide.
You know, 6 feet wide wasn't enough. You might want 8, 9. At the top of the reasons that you'd want to do the grind hip hop aerobics is because it's fun. And I mean, it's actually fun. I really enjoyed my time with it, and it actually made it kind of hard to move on to my next set of tapes because I just wanted to keep doing this. Second, the calories burned are pretty good for the investment, both in time and in spirit. Because it is fun, it's a little easier to get to the mat on those days where you just really aren't feeling it, so that really, really helps. And I'm not going to pretend like I wanted to always hit the mat with the same gusto, but I will say that the number of positive experiences was higher than average.
Yeah? Woo!
Also, the music is a total blast from the past. And if you look behind the dancers, you can see on the screens they're playing the music videos, so it like really brings you back.
You don't have to go all the way down to the floor if you don't want to. You can just cross, right?
Yeah, whatever's supposed to.
And the same thing goes for the set in general. That like fake ass looking factory thing really dates it in a way that I love. You can find the Grind Hip Hop Aerobics on VHS, or you can find it uploaded to YouTube or the Internet Archive for free. I've never seen a DVD release or anything like that. I haven't seen any sort of re-release past the VHS. It's probably because the music, because the rights to all that can get really messy over the years. I loved my time with MTV's The Grind Workout Hip Hop Aerobics, and I started it because I thought it would be kind of dumb and goofy and make for a good video. And that is true, but I fell in love instantly, and I'm totally gonna do the other tapes that they've made. And because it's uploaded to YouTube for free, like you might as well give it a shot. There's very little investment here. And it's fun, and you might pick up some dance moves that you could use in a club, and then they'll nicely ask you to leave.
There you go. That's it. That's all.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I got some dancing to do. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Not bad, right?